Hi, I think I'm live. This is Laura Kane. I want to say thank you for joining me. There's always a delay, so I apologize. Yeah, thank you for joining me. Today, we are going to discuss mindfully tending to your emotions. So, most of you know, my name is Laura Kane. I am a integrative psychiatric physician assistant, and I teach mindfulness and meditation and breath work. And it is really one of my great passions to help people, to help enable people to understand that they are really have a lot more power over how they feel than they think. And there are so many ways that we can improve how we feel inside through mindfulness and just becoming more aware of ourselves and becoming taking responsibility, actually, for our thoughts and our beliefs, and then how they affect the interface of our internal world with our external world. So today we're going to talk about feelings. I am following up, this meditation is going to follow up from a class I did last week on Facebook about the feelings wheel, which here's the feelings wheel. If you didn't receive a feelings wheel, please email us at torchwellness.com and we would be more than glad to send you a copy, a PDF. It's really helpful. I carry one in my purse so that when I'm feeling an emotion arise and I can't really name it and I'm not really sure what's going on, I can kind of look at that wheel and it will really help me name the emotion. But we're going to do a meditation today that will kind of help as well in case you can't really figure out what's going on inside of you, because most of us really don't know what's going on inside of us. I think that if we were taught emotional intelligence, which is what we're kind of talking about, what I'm talking about, I think if we were taught emotional intelligence as children, we would suffer so much less as adults. We would create a lot of, it would alleviate a lot of pain and suffering because we're not taught how to manage our emotions. And then we kind of inflict that pain. So we feel this tension and this pain inside of us because we don't know how to process our emotions, which are energy and motion. And so we have this like tension that we feel, and then we kind of take it out on other people. Most importantly, our significant others, our children, our friends, people closest to us. Usually it's our significant other if we're married or in a partnership because they feel the safest. So we're here to help alleviate some of that tension. So like I had said, emotions are energy and motion. So we have this interface between the external environment and the internal environment, and our senses are receiving information from the external environment, and all that information comes up into our brain, and then how our brain perceives it creates energy, creates an emotion. And that emotion tells us how we're processing the environment. And so a lot of times, some of the basic emotions are joy or anger or fear or what is another? Peaceful, powerful. But like I said, most of us really don't know what's coming up, and so therefore we experience anger, we experience anxiety, or we experience aloofness or shutting down. So it's kind of fight, flight, or fright. Flight, yeah, fight, flight, or fright. Yeah, so fright's the freeze. Freeze. So why are emotions helpful? They kind of tell us what's going on inside of us. They also give us insight into our beliefs and into our perceptions. And a lot of times our beliefs, well, all of the time, our beliefs and perceptions are subjective. And so when we're experiencing anxiety or we're experiencing anger or we're feeling perpetually victimized, a lot of the time we're creating that ourselves through the lens that we're seeing the world. And so if we can start paying attention to our emotions and start naming them and tending to them and then seeing what situations kind of bring up those emotions, we can really start to take control of our lives and behave differently, react differently, choose a different response. So that's really very empowering. I like the idea, I give the analogy to clients that imagine that you're grass, right? So you're grass, and it could be a tree. It works, you know. So you're just hanging out and you're feeling good. And then some emotions. So let's say some strong emotions. So let's say anger. So you get very angry. It's like the wind. And so the anger comes through, and ideally, what will happen is the anger will come through. You'll flutter, you'll feel that anger rise up in your system, in your body. But then the anger passes, and then you become still again. Okay, so you're still, anger comes up, anger goes through, you feel triggered, but then you can let it pass. Yeah, that's ideal. What happens to most of us is we're in a good place, something happens, we feel anger, the anger comes, and we get flattened. And then the situation's gone, right? Feelings, and then we spend the rest of the day pissed off. This is really a good example of road rage, because most often road rage is not because you're pissed off that someone cut you off. Road rage is an accumulation of anger that you've been carrying, and then you just feel this outlet that feels appropriate, which most often is not in the situation of road rage, but it's kind of what's going on. So we're going to do a meditation today to start to learn how to mindfully tend to your feelings or your emotions. And I'm using emotions and feelings. They're kind of the same in this talk and how I deal with this. There are people who will tease out the difference between feelings and emotions, but that's not really very helpful right now, because I'm just wanting to talk about kind of an emotional state that arises. So I would like for everybody to get in a comfortable position. So when we're talking about meditation or being mindful, you want to feel supported. Some people like to lie down, but I find a lot of people who are just starting meditation will fall asleep, which might be helpful if you're really tired, but not helpful when you're learning mindfulness. So if you could get into a comfortable position, if your feet are on the ground, no crossed legs, no crossed arms, hands resting on your lap, feet gently resting on the floor. You can sit cross-legged, you can sit, it's just whatever kind of feels comfortable. And take a moment to close your eyes and just check in. So how does your body feel right now? There's a quote from Carolyn Myss that says, at any given moment in our day, we're 50% present, and 50% of us is elsewhere. So I want you to be mindful of elsewhere and notice, where are you? Are you still at work? Are you still on the drive home? Are you still with dinner, thinking about dinner? Did you have a disagreement today? Where are those bits and pieces? Are you having a rainstorm and thinking of the rain? Or are you thinking of the sun? Or whatever. Just be mindful of where your thoughts are and see if you can start pulling them in. So start bringing them back to home base, which is your body. And just start to just to notice your breathing. So as you start to kind of pull back your energy, wherever it might be, allow yourself to be mindful of your body and to be mindful of your breathing. And so feeling the breath coming in and feeling the breath going out. And imagining, just inviting your body to relax. And if you notice any areas that might feel tension, that might feel tightness, that might be hurting, just imagine drawing the breath into these spaces. And then as you exhale, imagine yourself inviting those spaces to soften and relax. And so kind of taking out, that perception of external stimulus, and we're starting to turn inward. And the breath is the best way, it's the easiest route to go inward. And so noticing your breath, noticing the pace of your breath, noticing the depth of your breath. And then taking a moment to just scan your body. So you can start with your feet, bringing awareness to your feet, resting on the earth. Imagining softening the bones of your feet and the muscles of your feet. Feeling them soften in your shoes if you have shoes on. Or feeling them soften on the floor. And bringing awareness up through the ankles, into the shins and the calves. Imagining relaxing any tension you might be feeling in your lower legs. And so feeling the breath coming in, and then on the exhale, inviting the lower legs to relax and to release any tension. Inviting your feet to soften. And then bringing awareness up through the knees, into the thighs. Noticing the front of the thighs, the quadriceps. Taking a breath in, and then as you exhale, inviting the quads to relax and release. Being aware of the back of the thighs, the hamstrings. Taking a breath in, exhaling and inviting the back of the thighs to soften and relax. You can take a moment to be mindful of your legs in their entirety. And on the next few exhales, just inviting the legs to soften and release. You may experience the legs becoming heavy or light. Sometimes they can become a little tingly. Just holding that intention with each exhale, your body is relaxing, your legs are softening. Moving into the glutes and the hips and the lower abdomen. Most of us carry a great deal of tension in our pelvis. And so you can, on the in-breath, you can kind of tilt the pelvis forward, and on the exhale, tilt the pelvis back. Just bring a little bit of movement. Tilt the pelvis forward, and tilt the pelvis back. Just inviting the glutes to soften. Inviting the hips to release. The belly to relax. And bringing awareness up the spine. So being mindful of your spine. Noticing as you breathe in how the spine gently lengthens. And as you breathe out, the spine gently releases. And so imagining all of those muscles that run up and down the spine, letting go as you breathe out. And you can bring your awareness, wrap it around the front body, noticing how the belly lifts and releases as you breathe. Noticing how the ribs lift and release as you breathe. You may even feel your arms gently move as you breathe. And all the while holding that intention of letting go as you exhale. So sometimes I like to imagine breathing in kind of pure, clean air. It kind of moves throughout my entire body, and then as I exhale, releasing any toxins, any negativity, any tension. And just beginning to feel your body unwind from the day. Bringing awareness to your neck and your throat. Breathing in that pure, clean energy. Breathing out any toxins. Seeing if you can feel how the throat gently expands and opens on the in-breath and then contracts and releases on the exhale. You might even be able to bring awareness to the soft palate, the part of your throat right behind the hard palate that gently moves like a diaphragm as you breathe. So can you feel it move as you breathe in? It gently lifts, expands, and then lets go on the exhale. And then bringing awareness to the muscles of the scalp, inviting the scalp to release as you exhale. Perhaps the little muscles, the back of your head, your occiput, it gets so tight and tense as we walk around all day holding up this 10-pound bowling ball. So as you exhale, imagining those muscles relaxing. And then softening your forehead, your cheeks, and your chin, your jaw. If you'd like to open and close your jaw a few times just to kind of work out any tension. Or if you do yoga, you can do lion's breath, which is really very helpful at releasing tension. You take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, you stick out your tongue, and you make a noise like this. You breathe in. Feels really good. You can kind of just feel that tension release from the chest and from the neck and the throat. And then allow your awareness to come back to your breath and just feel the breath coming in and going out. Coming in and going out. And I'd like for you to ask yourself how you're feeling right now. You may feel peaceful, you may feel calm, you may feel anxious, you may feel uncertain, you may feel cheerful, pensive. Just be mindful if there's any emotions in your system right now. And if something doesn't really come up, I'd like for you to think about your day. And just think about kind of the prevailing emotional state that you had throughout the day. It might have been a good day, you might have felt happy. That's great, focus on that. It might have been a frustrating day. You might have felt frustrated. Focus on that. I'm going to throw out a few others from my feelings wheel. So you might have felt maybe serene, maybe grateful, maybe confident, maybe frustrated, maybe critical. I think a lot of us feel that throughout the day, critical of ourselves or others, maybe insecure, playful, satisfied, appreciated, or whatever whatever the feeling is. And then the beautiful thing about this meditation is if you can't come up with an emotion, because part of this is about learning what we're feeling, and a lot of us don't know. And so if you can't come up with a feeling, I'd like for you just to notice if you're feeling any tension in your body, or if any part of your body is kind of talking to you. So you might feel a little bit of fluttering, or you might feel a little bit of heat, or you might feel a little bit of tension or constriction. And just allow your awareness to kind of rest in that space. And if you were able to pinpoint an emotion, I'd like for you to notice where that feels in your body. Because generally an emotion is going to be tied to some part of our body. So joy might be in your scalp, or deep in your belly, or, anger might be in your throat, or fear might be in your lungs. Excitement might be in your chest. Fear might be in your chest. Fear and excitement are kind of the same emotion. And so just kind of allow your awareness to settle on a specific area of your body that might be associated with a feeling or a sensation. And then notice, are there any descriptors of the sensation or the emotion? So is there any kind of temperature or texture or color? Is there any sensation that you're experiencing? And just allow yourself to feel that, be mindful of that, be aware of it, continue breathing, feeling the breath come in and out. And then as you're bringing awareness to it, does it change? Does it shift? Does it intensify? Does it lessen? Do the qualities of the sensation shift? Do you notice as you're bringing awareness there that you feel something somewhere else in your body? And the two seem to be linked. Were you feeling it in your heart space and then it moved into your throat? You're feeling it in your throat and it moved into your head. Just watch. We're just taking the witness mind and we're observing. But the other thing I'd like for you to be mindful of is there a story attached to the feeling or to the sensation? So as you're bringing to mind a feeling or a sensation, is there a story that comes with it? Oh my gosh, I'm feeling angry because I was cut off in traffic, or I'm feeling anxious because of COVID-19, or whatever. Wherever that mind, that lovely monkey mind chooses to go, notice if there is a story attached to the experience you're having right now. And see if you can invite yourself to let that go. So I like the quote, your thoughts are the clouds and you are the sky. And so as you're being mindful, as you're taking inventory, as you're sitting, as you are giving yourself the gift of sitting with your emotions, can you give yourself permission to let go of the story? And just be okay with whatever shows up. So you're feeling sad today. So you're feeling angry. So you're feeling joyful. So you're feeling jealous. Whatever shows up, can you hold a space to just accept that? And know that it's not going to stay forever. And so then kind of coming full circle, now how are you feeling? Has the emotion changed? Has the sensation changed? Has your experience of the feeling changed? As you have brought your awareness to it and to the sensation it brings, as you have brought awareness to possible stories, beliefs, perceptions that might be associated with that, as you have brought awareness to any self-judgment and invited yourself to just accept whatever shows up. Has your experience changed? And then the last question is, can I release attachment to this emotion, to this experience? Can I just let it be and not try to define it or identify with it or, beat it down? Can I just breathe into it? So a really great way, so if you're going through a tough time and you know the emotion or the sensation, like you're walking around and your throat's feeling really tight, you can get into this relaxed state, and then you can just use the breath to help you. So you just imagine, so wherever that sensation or that emotion is in your body, imagine breathing into that space. So if you're feeling tightness in your heart, imagine breathing. It's like a laser beam of energy right into your heart. And then as you exhale, imagine the energy just diffusing out from around that space. And so you breathe in, laser beam focus of energy to wherever it is in your body. And as you exhale, it's like gas. I love the analogy of like dry ice, right? So it kind of laser beam, breathing in to wherever you're feeling, and then exhale. And then notice if the experience changes. Notice if anything shifts. Notice if you experience a different emotion. And so just staying with the breath, staying with the feeling for as long as you need. For the sake of this meditation, we're just going to very gently, we're just going to release the emotion. You're going to release that focus and just come back into your breathing. So feeling the breath come in, feeling the breath go out. Inviting your body to soften and relax with each exhale. Notice how you feel. Notice if there have been any changes in your body or in your experience of the present moment. You can gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. I always like to roll my neck. I seem to get tension in my neck when I meditate, so I always like to take one ear to one shoulder and the other ear to the other shoulder. You can stretch. You can point, flex your toes, you can roll your wrists, whatever feels good. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And the beautiful thing about mindfully tending to our emotions is that when we ignore, when we repress, or when we fight against, it's really the fighting. I had a client many years ago who had said to me, she suffered from pretty severe anxiety, and she had said to me, if I have to keep feeling this, I'd rather die. And I thought, wow, what a rejection of the present moment, and how much suffering was that bringing to her because of that rejection. And granted, I understand anxiety is not comfortable. But it's one thing to experience an uncomfortable emotion. It's a whole nother thing to say, I am going to fight it. I'm going to resist it. I'm going to push it away. Because let me tell you, it will only get worse. It's like trying to calm down a 2-year-old in a temper tantrum. It won't work. So the more we can just be like, wow, I'm really feeling angry today. Or wow, I'm really feeling sad today. Or, wow, I'm really feeling joy today. And just allowing it to sit, allowing it to move through. There's another saying that I really like about the ocean. And some days the surface of the ocean, it's sunny and it's calm and the water is smooth. Like this morning when I went to the bay, delightful, so beautiful. And then other days I've gone to the bay during a hurricane or a storm, and it's insane. The waves and the wind and the foam and it's very uncomfortable. But if you go deeper into the bay, or if you go deeper into that body of water, eventually you'll come to a point where it's quiet and it's calm. And it is completely unaffected by what's going on at the top. And that's the gift of mindfulness. You can call it meditation, you can call it mindfulness, although meditation kind of more insinuates a practice, whereas mindfulness is really just kind of getting yourself in the present moment. But when we are mindful and when we can connect with that place inside of us that's unfettered by emotions, that neutral witness mind, and we can get through anything and not have it rob us of our peace. I remember a story. There's a woman, I can't remember her name. She's a researcher, I do believe at Harvard. And she does mindfulness work, but it's not attributed to Buddhism. It's just mindfulness, right? But she had told a story about how her house had burned down, and 80% of her house had burned down. And she called the insurance agent. And the insurance agent comes out and he assesses the damage, and he looks at her and he goes, "Wow, this is the first time I've ever experienced the call being not as bad as the damage." Meaning, when people experience maybe a kitchen fire, they're hysterical when they call the insurance agent. And so this woman experienced a very significant tragedy, and her call was like, "Hey, my house caught on fire, could you please come down?" And her response to him was, "This fire has robbed me of 80% of my physical possessions. Why would I allow it to rob me of my happiness?" And that pretty much says it all. That's the power of mindfulness. So I hope you found this helpful. Let me see. I have a list of things that I'd like to say. Yeah. So let's see. Next class will be September 8th. I'm not sure what the topic's going to be. You're going to have to stay tuned. Please bring me feedback. Please give me feedback. You can leave it on Facebook. You can email us at torchwellness@gmail.com. I'd really love to hear if you found this helpful, what you found helpful, maybe topics of pop-up classes, which I'm doing a pop-up class on chakras in September. Haven't decided on a date yet. You'll have to stay tuned. But what would you like to hear? What would you like for me to talk about? And it can be psychiatrically motivated, it can be mindfully motivated, it can be integrative psychiatry, it can be holistic, diet, exercise, I kind of do it all. So what are you interested in? And please let us know. And then let us know how effective this has been for you, if you like it. Email us at torchwellness@gmail.com if you'd like to be added to my newsletter. And if you haven't received a feelings wheel, if you'd like for us to send you a PDF, we will do that as well. Join us, obviously, on Facebook or Twitter, Torch Wellness. And I think that's it. Oh, and you know what? The best compliment is referrals. So if you liked this meditation and you found it helpful, please share it with a friend, or have them email us and we can add them to the newsletter. That's really the best way that you could support Torch, and I would really appreciate it if you enjoyed this. So that's it. A little short today, but I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and let me know what you think. So, bye. Have a good night.